think I'm allergic to core. Today's talk is inspired by an Instagram kind of ramble that I did, and I decided to expand on it a little bit and open it up for conversation here. And the topic is staying current in metal. It's hard. I see metal as this tree. It's a tree that's exponentially growing and branching out with each passing day. Although the underground has always been an important aspect to metal, I feel like the underground, for one, is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger because the internet and technology have improved accessibility for everyone. Now everyone can get their music out there. Everyone can make music and get it out there. So in addition to like labels, there are probably more labels, more and more labels, obviously more and more bands. So in addition to keeping up with the bands and labels that have already established themselves with you, and it being hard enough to keep up with new releases with those bands and those labels, you are now tasked with trying to keep up with what's new elsewhere. What are the new bands that are coming out? And we're just trying to add on more and more, and it's a lot to keep up with. There's only so much time in the day and only so much space in our brains. So why do we feel the pressure to stay current in the metal scene? Things that come to mind for me are loyalty to the scene. I hate the word scene, but you know what I mean. Relevance, bridging across generations, like knowing where you came from and knowing where that's led to. Simply being an active member of the metal community. And fellowship, being able to connect with others on the same topic. However, side note, the thing about connecting with other metalheads is it was hard enough to find a metalhead with bands in common with you, right? I mean, with all the subgenres that have existed for decades now, but nowadays, you can literally listen to anything on demand. You can pick any band, any genre, any era on demand, listen right now. And due to this and this metal tree just branching out so far, I think that there are going to be a lot of us whose Venn diagrams never even touch. Two people identifying as metalheads could have nothing in common. Each one of us is developing a very customized palette, a very diversified listening library. So the fellowship thing is probably not so big of a factor, really. But anyway, back on track. Back to the topic of staying current. I've had several, you could call them embarrassing moments where I realized I was not up to date. Like when I didn't realize that Suffocation had a new singer. And that was when I was at their concert. And several other occasions of, oh, I didn't know they had a new album out, or oh, I didn't know they made a music video for this song, or whatever, what have you. So in an effort to stay more current and upon Michelle's recommendation, I started subscribing to several metal news outlets. So now I've got this news feed coming in and I'm more aware of new bands, breakups, reformations, super bands, new releases, new tours, new music videos. I'm staying more up to date on all of those things. And I'm trying to listen. I will listen. Listen to the new stuff. So-and-so puts out a new video, I'll check it out. So-and-so puts out a new album, I might go listen to the whole full album. Side note though, does anyone else remember when it was like a metal taboo to listen to your metal on YouTube? Does anyone remember that? And now it's just like common practice. Also, I remember when it was like kind of taboo to listen to them on an MP3 player. And now look at us. We just play it right off of our phone. Anyway, so I give a listen to the current stuff. But then what? Then what? I think I'm finding myself at a bit of a standstill, which brings me to, what do I think about newer metal? Okay, I'll listen to something new, current, and I'll say, that's good. It's good. And that's it. That's it. But more often than that, I'm going, it's okay. Or, I'm not sure. Okay, from my perspective, from where I'm standing and the stuff that I'm checking out, it seems like there's a lot more progressive elements being incorporated into current metal. Modern metal, there's more experimentation. Bands trying to break out of their usual formulas, which is great. I mean, it's important. But as for these progressive elements, I just don't know if I like it. I just don't think I like it. I don't know. I think I should, but it's not clicking with me. Okay, like, I'm a big fan of old school death metal. When I try to give some, like, modern death metal a listen, it's either, like, really, really technical, which is, like, it's impressive, it's fine, like, good job, it's beautiful, but, like, it does nothing for me. So it's either really, really technical or, like, core. Like, there's just too much core. Is it just me? I just think I'm allergic to core. Oh, or it's both. Technical and core. And I'm just like, I can't. Okay, so in trying to stay current, I'm either, one, don't really know how I feel about what I'm listening to, like just, or two, I am overwhelmed because I have 15 tabs open of new releases or new bands or new albums or whatever, and I just can't listen to all of it. Because in addition to the metal news feeds that I'm getting now, I also am like getting recommendations from people in conversation. And you just have to draw a line somewhere. But ultimately, I guess I don't want to be irrelevant. And I don't want to be ignorant. As I'm getting older, I feel like I'm like less and less able to relate to the community. Because I'm seeing so many people that just soak up these new bands like a sponge. And here I am just kind of sticking to the classics a lot of the time. And like in 20 years, I don't want to be talking to a young metalhead and say, oh yeah, I'm really into Butane. And for them to be like, who's that, you boomer? But when you think about it this way, like when I was in high school, almost 20 years ago, when I was in high school, I only had basically 20 years of metal to absorb, like 20 years of metal history to learn. Now, there are 40 years of metal history-ish, I know it's debatable, and the metal tree has grown. How can anyone possibly be a learned, current, well-rounded metal listener? Am I just at this age where I'm no longer a sponge? I'm at this age where I simply have to say, I don't have room. I don't have time. And for what it's worth, like, if I take on listening to something, it's like an asset to my life. It's like, I want to know it in and out. I want to know, like, what that song sounds like. I'll know when I'm in the mood for a song from their album or whatever. Like, I kind of listen hard. I don't listen passively. Okay, that ramble was kind of all over the place, but this is where I want to know, like, how do you guys cope? You metalheads, what are you doing? Are you staying current? Are you constantly exploring? Are you checking out new bands, new albums? What do you do after you listen to it? Have you listened to something lately that you've actually turned around and bought? Do you even buy music anymore? How do you decide if you want to add something to your listening rotation or not? What do you think about like current trends in metal styles? I know things are different than back when we all had to buy albums. When you had to buy an album, you were invested in it, so you like listened to it a lot. And you really got to know it. But now there's less obligation to listen the crap out of something. So what do? Do you try to keep up? Do you listen to the new? Do you always buy the new from your favorite band? Or do sometimes you kind of fall off the wagon a little bit? conversely, is that the word? Opposite of listening to the new, do you just stick with what you've got? What you know and love? Side note, I probably will never be able to listen to all the music that I already own. However, my library is like practically a frozen library. It's largely comprised of things from 2010 and past, like 2010 and before. Do you still have stuff that you listen to over and over? Do you feel overwhelmed by this huge amount of metal? Oh, how about you tell me a favorite band of yours that was formed in 2015 or later? Anyway, that was a lot of questions. I would like to know your thoughts on staying current in metal. I just kind of wanted to start a conversation because I feel covered up. And sometimes I'm just like, I've been trying to like try out the new and like dip a little toe in all these different bands and stuff, but I end up just turning around and going right back to listening to what I usually listen to, like just my old faithfuls, my old standbys, whatever you want to call it. I feel like I'm drowning. So tell me, do you guys manage to tread water or even swim in this vast sea of infinite metal? Let me know.